Hey, Eicca.
Hello. Hey,
How you doing today?
pretty good. Pretty good. Busy bee getting ready for the upcoming show. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Definitely a lot of stuff coming up. I mean, maybe talk to us a little bit about that preparation. It's an exciting time for Apocalyptica.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Like always building up a new tour. It's um it's a lot of work and a lot of unexpected. A lot of expected work and a lot of unexpected work. But it's very exciting. It's always exciting times.
How do you go about preparing for those unexpected elements? Because obviously, any sort of travel, that's going to be a massive part of it.
Yeah, and it's more like getting the show together, to get all the show files and for light programming, and there's a lot of that kind of stuff that people don't realize that needs to be done. It's not only about practicing or getting the playing right. It's a lot of other stuff as well, which is fun to do, but usually takes more time than expected, like in
Of
this case.
course.
But
So maybe if you could speak to us a little bit about what fans could expect. Obviously, you're going to be going through Europe. What sorts of performance are fans able to look forward to? Is it going to be a lot of stuff coming from the new project?
yeah, it's gonna be like fully plays Metallica Volume 2. It's kind of a concept. I say it's a concept because we play only Metallica on this tour, and of course we are gonna hit North America as well next year, and pretty much all territories. But it's probably it's probably best Metallica set ever. you
Wow.
know, like we are able to pick up like a really amazing set list of Metallica songs and. Um, I guess it's probably 18 songs or so. And it's a lot of songs from new album, of course, but we're revisiting other Metallica tunes that we have recorded and performed in the past and made a little bit new kind of versions of those. And it's uh, it's going to be very exciting. But especially for Metallica fans, it's going to be time to shine because we don't have any singer on the tour. It's going to be fully instrumental, and that's why we are expecting the audience to do the job, to be the vocals for us.
That's so cool. I mean, maybe speak to us about feeding off, the energy from the crowd like that and what sort of dynamic that creates for the live show setting.
Yeah, I think the whole live thing is like what's the magic in the performing live is it's like we have a X amount of people gathering in the same space to experience same thing in everybody's own unique personal way. But that just creates something very uplifting, and I think for us it's so much based on the connection with the audience. No matter if it's Metallica concept or it's something else, but it's we are there doing the thing together. It's not that we are just performing for the audience, but we are doing the whole magic together that requires everyone's energy, and that's what I'm very much looking forward to. That's also kind of like I realized uh, long time in the past, long time ago, kind of this as the main source of the whole motivation. People very often ask that, okay, how do you maintain that? How can you get excited every night when you play the same songs again and again in a way? And it's sort of repetitive when you are somewhere on your 100th show of the tour.
Yeah.
but that's kind of the whole source of motivation is in the magic of connecting with people and doing the thing together. And therefore, every show is a new and fresh situation.
That makes a lot of sense. You got to maintain that enthusiasm about that connection. Obviously, speaking of the Metallica connection, this is a full circle moment for Apocalyptica in a few ways. Maybe if you could speak on that, coming full circle from the first Metallica project, and maybe talk to us about why this was the right time for Volume 2.
Kind of the reason to make this album is pretty much the same than it was to make the first album, uh, because we love the music. We love Metallica's music. So that's kind of that's the
Simple
reason
enough.
has stayed the same. Yes, and but of course, we've been talking about making another Metallica album always. Like someday we will do it. I think the first kick towards this album was the anniversary tour when we played on the Metallica music, the 20th anniversary tour. And it turned out to be so much more exciting and more fun than we ever expected. And that led us to do Cell Zero album, the fully instrumental Apocalyptica, because it was so fun to revisit something that we did 20 years ago, but with the experience, what we have gathered and gained over these years. And we wanted to do kind of the same with our original music, with Cell Zero album. And now it felt like, it's hard to describe why it felt like the right moment to do, but something was sparking since the anniversary tour that we want to do other Metallica songs. We want to discover the music. And of course, now when we have established Apocalyptica sound in a new way comparing to the early beginning of the band, we also kind of felt that challenge is to reinvent the wheel in a certain way, that we can't just repeat what we did in the past. So when Apocalyptica, after all these years making original music, if we do cover album, there needs to be a good reason for it. And it really does need to make sense for us. That why are we doing? So we need to feel that, okay, we are bringing something new on the table, like a new perspective, or we are bringing Metallica's music out in a new way. And that was kind of the most exciting challenge in this album project, was to figure out, okay, what is the identity of Apocalyptica in relation to Metallica 2024. So the approach was very, very, very different. So we gave ourselves much more freedom to modify the original music, still staying very true and honest to that. So we kind of dig into the song and try to find the soul of the song, if I could say so. That kind of that. Okay, what are the key elements that makes this song great? Because when we take out the lyrics, what is left then?
Right.
It's like you remember the Blacklist album, Metallica cover album, that you can make even bossa nova version of Metallica, but if you have somebody singing the main thing, it's still recognizable. You can 100%. Recognize that, okay, this is the song, yeah. But when you take that off, what is left? What are the key elements? And that's why some songs that we tried out and wanted to play didn't really turn out to be a great Apocalyptica versions. So we had to feel always like, okay, it's a great Apocalyptica version. Not only that, right. It's a great Metallica song. It had to turn out to be a great Apocalyptica song in a way,
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Like you say, finding the soul of that song. So, you actually led into my next question. How many different tracks did you guys experiment with for this project as compared to the amount of songs that ended up on the actual record?
I don't know exactly. I would say something between 20 and 30 were on the table. And maybe around 20 of those we started to make arrangements. And then 9 ended up on the album. So,
wow.
So there were many songs that, it took a lot of time. It was equally big project as making any other album. So it wasn't any easier. Someone could think that, but it was easy. Music was written, but no. We had to kind of rewrite everything.
Was it something that you could really pinpoint when a song wasn't really gelling, or was it just a matter of feel and you couldn't really describe it further than that?
Yeah, it was just a feel. It was more like, how does this feel like? Does this excite? Is this exciting or not? And that was found in many songs quite early. Some songs were more challenging, took more time to actually crack the code, so to say. And of course, if we would just play Metallica songs as they are, there wouldn't also be point. That would be an easy choice. Then we would don't need to challenge ourselves of being like just a regular cover band. But I think Apocalyptica is more even in relation to Metallica than just the cover band of Metallica. That we feel that we need to feel that we own the song. It's kind of our song. At the same time, when we feel that simultaneously we feel the joy, like a teenager, like, oh fuck yeah, this is so cool, to play Ride the Lightning or Black End or something like that. So the process was picking up the songs was more difficult than I thought. Good example is like I really wanted to have something from the very latest albums, but even there are tons of great songs. But somehow when we took out the magic of Metallica as a band, the sound and the characteristics of what they have, very unique thing as a band. Then we just felt that, okay, these songs are structured differently and they don't give us enough tools, enough parts to make it interesting instrumental version. So I think it's relying somehow more on the vocals, and then the song structure is like there's not so many riffs like in the 80s. There were like on Metallica songs, there's like tons of great riffs coming after each other, and they work for cello really well. But if the song is based on like 2-3 riffs, then it's a little bit less juice for us.
Yeah, no, definitely gives you less to work with. That makes a lot of sense. How about your cover version of One, obviously in collaboration with Metallica themselves? How long did it take you guys to crack the code on this one? Because the originality in this track and the way you guys made it your own, especially such an iconic song in the world of metal, to me was just massively, impressive.
Yeah, thank you. We have released a version of One on 1998 album, Inquisition Symphony. But the reason was that Perttu, my bandmate, he kind of had this vision for the song to make it more cinematic, like more like a story, like a movie, like a musical movie, and he was thinking that okay, the lyrics needs to be narrated, and we were talking about some actors. And somebody just said that the Apocalypse Ultimate would be if James would be doing it, but it's never going to happen. And I thought that okay, but let me figure out a way, to ask him. And I presented the idea to James, and he loved it, and that's why he's on the track. And I think it's not about making a version of One; it's actually to remake it in a certain way to bring the certain different aspects more strongly out of it, because the lyrics are powerful, and unfortunately they are too relevant even today. So nothing is changing in the world in that sense, and I think the story comes across in a different way when they are spoken in this kind of structure. So I don't know. It's just fantastic music, and so big pleasure for us to make a version of that it really actually shows how great music Metallica writes.
Yeah,
it's not just great metal music. It's just simply great music.
Just great music in general. Yeah, I mean it's so true.
Yeah.
Obviously we've all heard that song so many times, but hearing it in this light, it feels like the lyrics stood out even more. Even already knowing them. When you brought the idea to James, did he sort of get it right away, or did it take him some time to warm up to the idea of the spoken lyrics because it's just so different?
Yeah, he actually got it right away. He was like, this is interesting. This is exciting approach and very unexpected. And so he really wanted, he was immediately in. He was really like, yes, I want to do it. I definitely want to do it. I think there was also a little challenge for him. That, of course, if you have sang the lyrics in a certain way for thousands of times,
Yeah.
I guess, And then to do something that it's not about singing. It's like if you're a great singer, it doesn't mean that you're a great storyteller. Like it's acting thing more like. So I think James did a great job on that. But I think that was the reason that he probably found that as an exciting challenge also to do something different. I don't think if we would have asked James to come to sing on the song, I don't see any reason why would he do it. You know,
Right. I mean, what's in it for
why
him to
do
sing
the
one
same?
again?
You know,
Yeah.
exactly. Why do the same thing again? That's what people don't really get always. It's like, yeah, but that making music and being an artist, doing any kind of art, it's all about it. What do you get excited about?
Yeah. No,
And
for sure.
and I think many things on this album uh, in relation to Metallica themselves. The idea is what we got, like having Cliff Burton's bass track on Call of Cthulhu, or having Rob playing bass and James talking, and all those ideas, they started to come from the work of with the music. That the music started to kind of spark the ideas. Oh, this would be cool. This would be great, and and therefore I think that's what Metallica just like that. Okay, this is a piece of honest work. This is
Yeah.
not done for any other. It's a passion project. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. I mean, it was interesting to me too, because obviously you guys are so clearly reinventing, a song like One and pushing the envelope. It was curious to me that some people were criticizing James's vocal track for the delivery and saying they wished he would have sang. What is your sort of reaction to that? As somebody who's trying to give something a new life and then seeing people say, I wish it's the way that it was originally. That, sort of odd to me.
Yeah, that just shows how the world is, how
Right.
people in the world are, and of course everybody has the right for their own opinion, but the whole world lies in the place in a way that nothing should change, and uh, if something is good, you shouldn't touch it, and um, there's a lack of play and fun, you know.
Hmm.
So for me, it feels like if I see that kind of comments that this sucks and blah blah blah, whatever rage people want to put in there, of course I filter it out, because I just know that in general there are a lot of people that they just like to rage about things. But
Yeah.
but it also feels to me that okay, these people, they don't understand it. They don't get the point. They don't get the point why this version exists. They don't actually probably even understand what the fucking lyrics are about.
Right.
It's a fucking it's a lyrics that should put you to think about things, and to think about the perspective to war and all the terrible things that are going on at the moment in the world, rather than, you know I can't even describe it, how I feel about it, but I just feel a little bit sad that okay, these people just don't get it. But it also tells me and us that yeah, it's fucking cool, because if it doesn't divide any opinions, then it's not, it doesn't have the mojo. It needs to have the mojo to to make strong reactions. Then there is
Yeah.
something real in it.
100%. And I mean, you guys are no stranger to that as well. Having that reaction from people, was it easy for you to, just dismiss the outside noise from the beginning of your career, or is that something that you had to work on throughout your career?
It has been fairly easy, but yes, there were times that we had the kind of a need to prove that it was a little bit hurting on some point, that we had released maybe 3 albums of original music, and we still were considered just as a Metallica cover band, and like kind of like the show around Cult album 2000. Um, that way we kind of started to become a real band, in my opinion. that in the beginning we were just a bunch of cellists who played metal music because we loved it, and then we started to evolve towards to be a band with an own identity. And for some people who kind of decided with the first album that this is just one shot novelty thing, that opinion kind of, I felt the need that we need to kind of talk this, we need to change, we need to make people understand. But I think I nowadays I don't really care if people understand or not, because I also understood that it's no way that everybody would understand the same way as we do, you know. So it's better to do the things and not to let bad talks to hurt yourself too much. I think that works in general in life. It's not only about releasing music, because people have their opinions and we can't control people's opinions. And whatever we try to do, we still can't control. We have zero control of how people receive things.
That's true. I think that's definitely a good place to be mentally. You know, how about the collaboration with Robert Trujillo? Maybe if you could speak on that, what it's like working with Robert, and obviously the track that you guys have put out.
Yeah, Rob is an amazing guy. It was so great to get to work with him on this song. The idea to ask Rob came when I was actually Four Horsemen was my very first song. I knew, like in the beginning, I want to make Four Horsemen because that. Right. And I know it's gonna be cool. But when working on the song, I felt that in the guitar solo section part, that the bass line is actually very dominating and it's very important. And kind of thinking of should we imitate it with the cello or something? But it was no, it's actually the bass sound gives the right feel for it. So it should be played by bass. And if something so important is played by bass, there needs to be a point on who is playing the bass or something. And I was like, okay, I want to ask Rob if he would be up for it. And Rob was in immediately. And it's so cool that he came to studio in Pasadena to record with a couple of bassists, and we spent the day there. And then after he had done the thing, and he heard a little bit later, he heard that, James is going to be in one. He was like, I want to play there as well. So he called down producer Joe Barresi that I will come back to the studio. And he went back to the studio to record the bass for one as well. And also about the bass is that when we had the Cliff track and we had Rob there, we was like, okay, what shall we do with the bass parts for the other songs? And I was like, would be so cool to get Ty Trujillo to play. So Ty, Rob's son, is playing the rest of the tracks on the record.
Wow. That's incredible. I don't know if I picked up on that piece. So, I mean, what's it like seeing Rob with his son working? Because that's such a cool dynamic as well.
Yeah, they didn't play at the same time in the studio, but I met them. I've been going to see with Rob. I've seen a couple of shows from his son Ty's band, own band, and so it's just great people, you know. what to say about it? Good people with good heart and a good spirit.
Definitely seems that way. Now, you mentioned Joe Barresi, of course, the producer of this record, known for his work with Soundgarden, Nine Inch Nails, Queens of the Stone Age. Maybe if you could speak to his production work and, obviously undertaking a big task on this project and delivering in a big way.
Yeah, Joe was kind of clear choice for us to ask to produce because we did Seventh Symphony in the past, so we knew how Joe approaches music, and he's amazing in a good old school way that he loves to make things real, and this is what we wanted really to do this album, that we wanted it to feel real. So like when I started to record first riffs with Joe last May in LA. We were working on the sound. We were trying to find the right sounds, the right amps and stuff. And we were listening back to old Metallica songs and kind of like trying to figure out what creates this magic. What is this? Where does this energy come that we feel, you know?
Yeah.
So that was really what we wanted to captivate for this album, that it feels really alive. So it's not really edited together. It's like Joe is a great producer for that kind of stuff because he just hates this kind of sterile, polished shit.
Yeah.
He's a real guy of rock and roll and metal. It's like it needs to be dirty and smell like shit. That's it needs to be done well, but still there needs to be you have to feel it.
It has to cut through the speakers to a degree and really come to life. And that seems to be what you guys
Yeah,
accomplished here.
thank you. That's what I feel like as well. It was really really great to work with Joe. Like he's amazing man, amazing guy.
What would you say is the biggest challenge about playing a part that's written for guitar on a cello? And how does that sort of compare to just writing metal music directly on that instrument?
Yeah, first of all, cello is very very hard to play. That it's also very heavy to play. So it's things are much far away from each other. So we need to step across the strings and stuff, and it's a lot of movement, physical movement. If you play guitar, it's just like you use the pick and that's it. But we kind of have to shovel it. We have to shovel every every note, and cello also the big challenge is that it's very dirty. So it has so much sound, kind of alternative sound, and so much resonance. So when you play, for example, fast things, fast riffs, we were just damping the cello, trying all the time to find ways to kill it, kind of, because there was too much information coming out of it. When we go into the amps with a good distortion, it kind of like multiplies all the information that goes in there. So from cello comes like 1,000 times more information than from a guitar mic. So that's one big challenge, to get it tight and powerful and not messy. Let's say it that way, not to get it messy. And of course, with the solos, of course, the tuning is different.
Yeah.
A lot of solos are played like you are in one or two positions, and you go on guitar, you go between things, and with the cello, you have to kind of move 3 feet. Man. Instead of being one your hand moves like 3 feet instead of being in one position. So it's a lot of challenges.
Yeah, definitely nothing easy about it. That is that's insane.
And
obviously,
and then the worst thing is the fucking tuning. The tuning is the beast.
Yeah, I can imagine would you have to change that throughout the song, or would it stay consistent, within one song?
It just, it's not about the cello tuning, but it's how the kind of the cello resonates. Every fifth is different direction, and it's like it's a different pressure and a different day, different feel. It's
man,
it's
keeps it exciting.
It's hard work. It keeps it exciting and sometimes incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, definitely.
But where's the fun if there's no struggle?
That's true as well. I guess to wrap up here, I was curious. Obviously, you guys have showed, so much love for Metallica. Obviously, here for everybody watching, we're speaking on Apocalyptica Plays Metallica Volume 2, which is going to be dropping on June 7th. What would you say, Eicca, are the top 3 Metallica records in your world? Is there any way that you could maybe rank those, or even if you could give us your number 1, I'd be curious to know.
My number 1 is Ride the Lightning.
Okay.
It's hard to know why things are your favorites. Sometimes it's related to on your life situation when you heard it first time or you got into it. So I was a young teenager, but I still somehow, it has this magical atmosphere. The sound of it is something really, really special. But then, I don't know, I just like pretty much all the albums of Metallica. But somehow Ride the Lightning is the most important to me.
How much of that sound do you think has to do with Cliff and the presence that he brought to those records?
I think it's a lot about Cliff. It's also a lot about how they did the records on those times. Also, the sonic track texture, like the musical texture, has a certain melancholic vibe that hits me as a Finnish guy. very much. But that's one of the reasons that why we wanted to get Cliff Burton's original track, and we got from Metallica, we got Cliff Burton's original bass track to Call of Cthulhu, because I just realized like a couple of years ago, I always been wondering, there's so cool things, there's sweeps and things in this song and where they come from, and I realized it's actually Cliff's bass track. And then
Wow.
I started to feel, I was like, when I was working on the arrangement, I was like, shit, it would be so cool to get that bass track. And I went and asked, and everything, like the most unlikely thing to happen, just turned out to happen. And now Cliff is playing on the track, which is incredible.
Yeah, that was a super cool part of the record. Was it hard to get the rights for that, or was it a situation where it's like we're all in the family, have at it?
Um, there were just like things just happened so well. So in the Funland, it wasn't difficult, but it was behind a lot of people. You know that a lot of people had to be asked, and I
Yeah.
had to present the idea for a lot of people. But I just happened to meet the person who kind of runs the Cliff Burton Foundation and the legacy, and she loved the idea. Lars loved the idea. James loved the idea. I spoke with the manager of Metallica, and he said he needs to figure out with lawyers who actually owns the rights. You know that how many whatever deals there are, and and they just cleared it out. And so it's pretty incredible. So it was a lot of those good things just happened. They were crazy ideas that on the paper like will never happen, but they just happened.
And
I'm
I'm
very
glad
happy
they
for
did. Yeah, no, I think
yeah.
everybody's happy. It's a really special thing for Apocalyptica fans and Metallica fans alike. Eicca, I really appreciate you taking the time today, and I know everybody's definitely going to enjoy this project when it comes out.
I hope so. I hope so. As at least even half of how much we enjoyed, that would be already awesome.